Hey, if you think the Browns have been quiet this week, you clearly haven't seen what just broke in the last few hours. We've got 3 stories that are about to change how you're looking at this draft completely. Ty Simpson's name just came up in a way nobody expected, and the connection to this Browns coaching staff makes it way more real than you think. Then there's a massive trade rumor involving the Cowboys that the GM himself just addressed, and what he said is going to leave you with more questions than answers. And Carnell Tate? His first top 30 visit said everything. Drop a like, let's get into it. Starting with Simpson and a move that could shake up the entire QB room. Look, everybody knows the Browns came into this offseason with one massive question mark hanging over the roster. Quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is the guy right now, the starter, the man they're building around, and yeah, Deshaun Watson is still technically on the roster, but let's be real, 2 torn Achilles tendons in 2 years? That situation is more complicated than a 4th and 1 call with 2 seconds on the clock. So Cleveland went heavy in free agency fixing the offensive line, and all signs point to them using early picks on a wide receiver too. Makes sense. But here's where things get interesting. They haven't touched the veteran QB market. No trade, no signing, nothing. And beat writer Ashley Bastock from Cleveland.com thinks that silence might be hiding something loud. She ran the PFF draft simulator and came out the other side with a pick that she herself called controversial. Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson in the 2nd round. And before you scroll past that, hear me out, because this isn't random. The connection between Simpson and the Browns goes back further than most people realize. When Simpson was coming out of high school being recruited, one of the coaches chasing him hard was Todd Monken, the same Todd Monken who is now the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Monken knew Simpson's dad personally, both of them tied to Southern Miss. That's not a coincidence, that's a relationship, and both Monken and Simpson have openly talked about wanting to work together at the NFL level. Now the realistic picture here is that Simpson wouldn't walk in and challenge Sanders right away. He only has 15 career college starts. He spent most of his time at Alabama waiting behind Jalen Milroe. That means he comes in as a developmental guy, someone who sits, learns, and watches what Sanders does in year 1. Draft analyst Dane Brugler over at The Athletic put it plainly in his scouting report. Simpson processes the game like an NFL quarterback, but he needs reps to sharpen his reads and decision making. The ceiling, a mid-level starter. The floor, a backup. The comp they're throwing out there is Daniel Jones, but with less athleticism. That's not a fireworks projection, but for a 2nd round pick meant to push Sanders and develop quietly, it might be exactly what Cleveland needs. Alright, but here's where it gets even wilder, because while everyone's been locked in on the QB conversation, a story just dropped about what the Browns might actually do with that number 6 pick, and the GM's own words just threw a wrench into everything. Alright, so here's the trade everyone has been screaming about for weeks. Browns are sitting at pick number 6. Cowboys want to move up. The deal that keeps getting floated is Cleveland dropping back to 12, swapping spots with Dallas, and in return getting both Cowboys 1st rounders, that's 12 and 20, plus their 2nd round pick at 39. The other version has Dallas keeping pick 20, but throwing in a 3rd rounder this year and a 2nd rounder in 2027. Either way, the Browns walk away with a haul of picks instead of one player. Mel Kiper is buying it. Todd McShay is buying it. Dane Brugler is buying it. Basically, everyone with a microphone has been treating this trade like it's already done. And honestly, it makes a ton of sense on paper. Cleveland has holes everywhere on offense, and loading up on picks would let them attack multiple positions instead of swinging once at 6. But then Browns GM Andrew Berry walked up to the podium and basically said, "Pump the brakes." Berry reminded everyone that heading into last year's draft, the whole world assumed Cleveland was staying put at number 2. Instead, they traded back to 5, grabbed an extra 2nd rounder and a 2026 first. He flipped the script entirely. So now when everybody assumes the trade down is locked in, Berry is essentially pointing at last year and saying, "You sure about that?" His actual quote was pretty sharp. "I love how everybody last year thought we weren't trading down and everybody this year assumes we are." He made it clear that the goal with the 6th pick is to maximize its value, and that could mean trading it, staying put, or even moving up. Everything is still on the table. Don't pencil anything in just yet. Now, if the Browns do stay at 6, there's really only one name that makes sense. And that guy, he just sat down and told the world exactly how he feels about Cleveland. You need to hear this. If Cleveland keeps that 6th pick and doesn't pull the trigger on the Cowboys deal, the move basically writes itself. Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. And before you ask whether he's worth a top 6 selection, let's just run through what this guy actually did last season. 51 catches, 8 for 75 yards, 9 touchdowns in 13 games. 6'2", ran a 4.53 40. He's not gonna blow the roof off on pure speed, but the production is undeniable, and scouts across the league have him ranked as the best wide receiver in this entire draft class. And the Browns, they already showed their hand. Tate's very first top 30 pre-draft visit was with Cleveland. That's not nothing, that's a statement. Tate actually went on the Rich Eisen show this week and talked openly about his meeting with the Browns, and the guy could not have sounded more comfortable. He said Cleveland is basically a home game for him. Ohio State is just an hour and a half from the Browns facility. He described the visit as natural, easy, all about football and connecting with the coaching staff. He also knows exactly what the stakes are. If the Ravens somehow get him at 14, Browns fans are going to lose their minds. And Tate acknowledged that rivalry with a smile, saying he's very aware of how deep that rivalry runs. But here's the part that should get Cleveland fans genuinely excited. When asked what kind of player a team would be getting, Tate didn't hedge. He said, a complete player, can stretch the field vertically, can make contested catches, willing to block, can win routes at every level. NFL.com's scouting report backs every word of it, calling him a rare Polish for his age and projecting him to become a standout pro within his first 3 seasons. That's your guy, Browns fans. The question is whether Barry pulls the trigger. 3 stories, 1 clear picture. This Browns draft is anything but settled. Do you trust Barry to nail the call at 6? Or is this the decision that defines Cleveland for the next 5 years? Drop your take below and subscribe so you don't miss what drops next.